Okay, guys, we are live. Hmm. So, hey everyone, I'm Viraj Jain, your mentor at Geeks4Geeks. And in this video, we are going to learn about AWS CLI. A very basic introduction to AWS CLI would be covered in this video. And rest is like, if you are interested in learning it more, then you can request more videos on this specific topic. But I think at least basic must be covered for AWS CLI, how to actually use it and how to basically set up that. Okay, so what is AWS CLI? It's a command line interface offered by AWS. So instead of going to the AWS website again and again, instead of going there, log in again and again, then log in as the IAM user, creating EC2 instance, managing that. Instead of doing that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a CLI into our local computer and we're gonna use that. Okay, so basically it has very benefits, a lot of benefits. Suppose for example, you are creating a Node.js backend. Okay, so there also you can implement the same functionality, similar commands, so that you don't need to go to AWS account again and again to create an S3 bucket or AWS EC2 instance or any other kind of feature. You can use it from your CLI, from your local computer itself. You can create those things, you can manage those things from your computer. You won't be needed to go here again and again. But yeah, that's an option. I would prefer you can go it here, or if you have some specific thing like in backends, generally when you are making a full stack application and you want to create an S3 bucket, obviously what you'll do is you'll use your backend to do everything. Okay, you won't be going here in the CLI part, sorry, in the console part and selecting those buttons and things like that. You won't be doing that. What computer does is computer write commands in the CLI and things are done. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so I'll give you a basic introduction to this one. So AWS CLI stands for command line interface. It's like in Windows we have CMD, right? We have CMD, right? If I just open this one, it's gonna take a few seconds and you can see guys that now it's here. Okay, so this is Windows CMD, right? Here you can write Windows command. Similarly, we can create a command line interface of our AWS. So instead of going here, we can directly run commands from our CLI, from our normal desktop computer. Okay, how can we do that? So first of all, I'll just go to sign in to console. And guys, here what you need to do is, first of all, I'll create a user. Okay, already we have covered this topic in the initial part of our AWS playlist. You can watch that, but still, here why we are creating a user, but because this is an AWS account, right? This is an AWS account. I want to access this AWS account from my local computer. Okay, I want to access the whole AWS account. Okay, inside this local computer, I can use any feature of AWS, EC2, S3 and things like that. That means whatever I do here in my local computer would be reflected to my AWS account. That's what I want. Okay, that means if I create an EC2 instance from here, the EC2 instance would be created in the AWS account. If I create S3 bucket here, the S3 bucket would be created here. Okay, that means I'm gonna control my AWS account from my CLI, from my normal computer. Okay, from my Windows computer. How can I do that? So here just go to users. Okay, users, and here I'll just create a fresh user, but yeah, you can do that with your old users also. So let's create a fresh user. I'm just gonna name this as suppose temp2. Okay, temp2. So I've just named this user as temporary user. Okay, and I want to create an IAM user, and I want to choose a custom password. So I'll just choose a very easy custom password because later on I would change this password. So hj@1234556. Okay, a very easy password. And yeah, I'm requesting the user to create a next password, a new password as soon he logs in. Okay, as soon he logs in. Okay, so I'm creating, suppose I'm the owner of this AWS account. I am creating an employees account. This is the temp2 is the employees account, right? So here what I'm going to do is either you can attach the group. We have already talked about this in the previous videos, or you can just copy permissions from somewhere, or you can attach policy directly. So I'm going to attach policies directly, right? I'm just going to say that suppose the policy is for EC2. So I'll just type EC2 and here you'll get all the EC2 permissions. I want full access. Okay, so I'll just select Amazon EC2 full access. Perfect. Now I'll just click on next and you can see that now I can simply create the user. So now guys, we created the user. Okay, we created the user. What I'm going to do is first of all, I'll log in with this temp2 user. Okay, I'll just log in with this temp2 user. So I'll just log out from my root account. Okay, now I'm just going to log in And here what I need to add is first select IAM, and here what you have to add is you have to add your account ID, root users account ID, right? This is also we have talked about in the previous video. So my root ID was Harshal Jain root. Okay, and if you are still confused what is IAM and things like that, please I would suggest please watch my previous videos, you will understand that. Okay, we have talked about these things. Now I'll just write the username of my employee or whatever sub user you have created. I'll just type his password, so hj@12345 6. This is the temporary password I have chosen, right? So again it's asking the temporary password hj@12345 6. Now I'll just choose my own strong password. So I'm now logging as an employee, I am the employee, and I'm choosing my strong password. So I'll just choose a strong password. Perfect. Now I've chosen a strong password and you can see that it's done. And now what you can do is you can see that you are now logged in, okay, as a temporary, as a sub user, as a employee, as a sub user, right, of AWS account, okay, of AWS account of the root user. Okay, so we are now not the root user, we are the temporary user. So I'll just sign out. Okay, now I'm just again going to log in as root user, because I want to create access keys for the temp to sub user, right? So I'll just go to sign in using root, and I'll just sign in with the root details. Perfect. Now I'm again the root user. Here what you're gonna do is you'll just go to IAM, and here guys we just now created a user, right? So I'll just go to users and you can see temp to user is here. What I'll do is here you need to copy the access key, so just go to security credentials, and here guys you can see we have access keys. Okay, so create access key. This is very important because in future if you are creating a backend, if you are having the backend in your local computer, and from that backend you have to handle AWS things, so you're gonna need this access via this access key. Okay, so just select CLI. Okay, and then I'm just gonna say I understand the above recommendation, next, and just keep this description. And now you can see that we got access key and secret access key. Perfect. Just just keep a pause on this page. Okay, just keep a pause, or you can copy these IDs somewhere. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just write AWS CLI download. Okay, you can just search for this. Okay, so you'll just go to the website, this second one. Okay, and here guys what you need to do is just a second. Okay, here what you need to do is you can simply see that my local computer, my personal computer is running Windows, right? So I'm gonna install Windows setup. Either you can go for Mac OS or Linux according to your system. Okay, so I'm gonna just select Windows. Okay, I'm just gonna select Windows, and you can see that it's downloading a setup for me. Okay, so now a setup would be downloaded, and you can see that it's here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this for you all, so you can see that this is the setup which is just now downloaded, right? So I'll just click on next, and here you can see that previously I have already installed it. Okay, so I'm just going to click on repair and repair. Okay, so if you have previous versions already installed, you can just click on repair and it would update things for you. Okay, so you can see that it's going to take a few seconds to install this one, and then after that guys we can just create a setup our things on our local computer. Okay, so let's wait for a few seconds. So guys, now you can see that AWS CLI has been installed. So you can just click on finish and then it would be done. Installation is done. Now guys, what you're gonna do is you can simply open CMD. Okay, just open CMD, your Windows CMD, or if you are a Linux user, you can just open the terminal. Okay, so you can see that I have opened my CMD. Just press Control and scroll upwards to zoom in. Okay, so you can see that it's here. Okay, so now you know that AWS is installed. So if you want to check things are working or not, you can just type a command named as AWS config. Okay, if this command is working, that means everything is fine. Okay, so you can see that basically there are some things written here. Okay, just a second. yeah, basically it's AWS configure. Okay, it's not AWS config. Sorry for that. So AWS CONFIGURE. Okay. So yeah, you can see that now this command is, since this command is working, so you can see it's asking me for the AWS access key ID. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just go here and you can see access key ID. Just copy this ID, okay, and just paste this one. Okay, if you have already added some other ID, still you can overwrite that ID with the new ID. Okay, so I've already added a ID before when I was learning about this one. So yeah, now I have a new ID. So now I am simply giving temp to user access from this PC. Okay, so you can see that access key ID has been added. Now again you need to add the secret key, secret access key. So just add this one and then simply hit enter. So you can see now here what you need to know write is you need to write the default region. If you don't write this, there won't be any default region, but I would suggest you can write a default region. So I'm gonna select my Mumbai region. So Mumbai region is AP South 1. You can just search for regions. Okay, if you don't know what is the region, you can watch my previous videos. Okay, so AP South 1, that is Mumbai region. So if I hit enter, okay, and output format, just keep it none. So just hit enter. Now you can see that AWS account has been configured. That means now whatever things I do from here would be reflected here. For what things? I have given access of EC2 to temp user 2. That means I can perform EC2 operations from here into my AWS account, main account. If I try to do things of S3, if I try to write commands of S3 from here to here, I won't be able to do that because temp2 doesn't have the access to do S3 things. Okay, so let's try to do things for EC2 only because we have given EC2 permissions. You can see that in the permissions we have EC2 full access. You can modify the permissions. I don't need to teach that again and again. You can modify the permission. You can just write S3 full permission. Then you will be able to write S3 commands also. Okay, now let's assume that what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to EC2. Okay, here I want to teach you something. So here you can see right now we have 7 instances running right now. Don't worry about these. These are some of the old instances. Assume that right now there are no instances. So what we're going to do is from our local computer, we're going to create instances here. How can we do that? So for doing that, what you have to do is you have to simply search for commands. Okay, you have to simply search for commands. You can simply search for AWS CLI EC2 commands. You can just search for this. It's very easy. Like you can't remember all the commands. Honestly, I don't remember all the commands and I never do that. I just search here or I used ChatGPT or different kind of tools to just search for the commands. That's the easiest thing you must do. Okay, so here you can see that AWS CLI, there's the documentation. Always try to read the documentation because commands might update. So you can see available commands for EC2 are here. So yeah, basically we have all the commands. Okay, we have all the commands for creating an EC2 instance for doing things. Okay, so for example here we have one command named as describe instances. Okay, so you can just search more about this one, but we're gonna talk about one command, that is describe instance. Okay, I think it's somewhere here, describe instances. Yeah, this one. So if I click on this describe instances, you can see describe instances, right? Inside this you can just get a good description and then after that you can just give more details. Okay, so right now suppose here if I type EC2 describe instances. Okay, so it would just give me a brief description of all the instances which I have in AP South 1 region. Okay, so if I hit this, you can see that okay, there is one problem. We have to write AWS first. Okay, so AWS EC2 describe instances. Now it would recognize. So you can see that here we have one more problem. Okay, I have written wrong spelling. So describe instances. Now you can see that it's running properly. So you can see that first of all we have one account. You can see that we have one instance here. Okay, you might not recognize with these details, but as soon as I hit enter, if I hit enter, you can see I got some IP addresses of that instance. Okay, if I hit more enters, you can see that I'm getting more details. Okay, I'm getting more details. So here I'm looking for the name actually. So you can just get the name below somewhere here. Let's wait. But yeah, you can recognize these things. These things are just some extra things, extra details, right? So you can see that yeah, basically this was the first instance. There are some details given about this instance. Okay, I think this instance doesn't have the proper name, that's why we are not able to see the name. But yeah, you can see that we are able to see the list of instances which are available at AP South 1. Okay, so if I hit more enters, you can see I got more details. Okay, So you can see that there are more details. If I hit enter, enter, you'll get a lot of details here. Okay, fine. So that means that this would simply show me all the instances which are running on AP South 1 region, right? You can see that this is one of our instance name, LB instance test 2. Okay, so if I just go here, you can see, yeah, basically this is the instance. So that simply proves that, yeah, it's showing our instances, and you can see this is what AP South 1 region. Okay, that means in AP South 1 region, whatever instances are here, you would be able to see those instances here. Perfect. So now if I just if I want to close this, I can just press Control C and it would just close. So these are the instances which are running right now, that means which are available in this region. Perfect. Now what you can do is you can create an instances. So for that, what I would suggest is just go to ChatGPT. Just go to ChatGPT. Easiest thing which I always follow for using these AWS commands, CLI commands, because you can't remember this much. Okay, if I go back, if I again go back, you can see these are just EC2 commands, just EC2 commands. Similarly, you have S3 commands. Similarly, you have a lot of commands. So who can remember this? It's very difficult. Okay, so instead of this, you can just go to ChatGPT and you can just simply type how to create EC2 instance in AWS CLI with commands. You can just type it this way. Okay, so now I can see to create instance, first of all you need to install the AWS CLI. We already did that. Okay, then what you can do is you can configure things. We already did that. Then after that you can just type this command, AWS EC2 run instance. This command is used to create an instance. Okay, so yeah, it's the chat GPT itself is telling us to use these things. Okay, so it's very easy. Like now you understood that what command you need to use. So here you can see that this is the command which you can type. Okay, the command which you can type. So here are a lot of options. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick some options. Okay, so here I'm just gonna just zoom out a bit. Okay, and basically it's saying if you want to create EC2 instance, you have to do the configuration. We already did. Now we have to simply type AWS EC2 run instance, RUNINSTANCES. Okay, run instances. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll just press a forward slash so that I can write things in the next line. I think, okay, this is not the correct one. I'm using, okay, Windows CMD. Okay, I am using Windows CMD. If you're using Windows command line prompt, okay, now it would give me the proper way. Let's see. Okay, I think now this would be the case for Windows CMD. So if I just press this, yeah, now you can see that you can write more. Okay, you can write more. Whatever you want to write more, you can write more. Suppose I would give an image ID. What's the image ID? It's the machine image ID. Like you want to create an Ubuntu based EC2 instance. So you have to write the ID of Ubuntu based EC2 instance. How you can do that? So you can just go here and if I click on launch instances, here what you need to do is suppose I want to create Ubuntu. So you will get the machine image ID from here. So you can just copy the ID and then guys you can just paste the ID, right? And again just pass this above sign. Okay, now what else can you write? As you can see, you have more options. So how many instances you want to create? So we have count flag. Okay, so just copy this count flag. Suppose I want to create 2 instances. Okay, 2 instances, so I'll just write that. Okay, then after that what else? So your instance type. So here you can just write t2.micro and things like that. Okay, so actually you can write it this way. So I got one proper one, how to create AWS EC2 instance from CLI. Okay, so this is more proper one. You can just check out this one also. So here what you can see is if you want to write instance type, you can just write t2.micro. Okay, so I'll just copy this and I can just paste it. Okay, and then again you can pass the tick sign so that you can go to next line. Again after that you have more options, your group ID and your subnet ID. If you don't write these things, that's totally fine. You can skip that part. Automatically the default subnet ID, default address would be given. Okay, so now what I'll do is after giving it this much, if I hit enter and okay, I think I need to write it in same line only. Anyways, I'll just write it in same line. Okay, anyways, so I'll just simply type AWS EC2 run instances. Just paste it here. Okay, then here I can simply type the image ID. So image ID directly. So copy the image ID and paste the image ID. Then after that, guys, we have count. So I'll just copy the count and I would paste the count. And then again, I'll just copy the instance type T2 micro. Okay, then here I can just paste the t2.micro. And after that you can search more about this, how can I add a root volume, how can I increment the size of root volume and things like that. So after this, if I just hit enter, let's wait for a few seconds, and you can see that guys, now two instances have been created. Okay, so if I hit enter, you can see two of the instances are created, two new instances are created. How would I know two instances are created? So if I go on on this instances page, just go here, and right now guys, if I just check this one, you can see that we have two pending instances. That means these are being created. If you want to check the date and time, you can just come here and you can check the time. You can see this is the time right now, right? 5:30. Okay, that means we just now created two instances. So that's how guys, basically you can use this AWS CLI. Okay, so right now we discussed very basic overview, how you can just configure AWS CLI and how you can write those commands. Although this is a very complicated thing, if you are just someone who just wants to learn AWS and won't go in that much depth, then you can just stop here in the AWS CLI part, because this is what you are going to use in most cases. Okay, but yeah, if you are someone who always uses CLI for some system purposes, then you can learn more about things, you can search more about things. I won't be going into this topic into that much depth, because personally I don't use it that much. Okay, but yeah, something like this exists. Okay, so you must know, and now you know that how you can control your AWS account from this local CLI, from this local command line interface. Perfect. So guys, I hope you understood how we can use these things. Today we just discussed about EC2 into our AWS CLI, but you can use all the services like S3, S3 buckets, or you can use Lambda, different kind of AWS services from your local computer to this AWS account, right? So that's it for today guys. I hope you understood this session, and this was a brief introduction of our AWS CLI. If you want to learn more about this, you can search on Google. If you want to, like, if suppose instead of this, you want to search of how to install, how to create S3 bucket in AWS CLI. Okay, so if you search for this, you can simply see, first of all, it's showing me the same things, and then after that guys, you can simply see that this is how you can create a bucket. Okay, so you can see, replace the bucket name with some example. You can see that it's giving us some example. So let's try to create a bucket name. If I try to do this thing right now, let's try to do it right now. Obviously it would give me permission error, but let me just show you that. Okay, so if I just paste it, and here you can see that the command for creating it is S3 API create bucket. Now you need to give the bucket name. So I'm just gonna give it my GFG bucket 123. Okay, something like that. Now in which region? Suppose I want to create this one in AP South 1, AP South 1. Okay, AP South 1. So if I hit this, you can see that when calling the create bucket operation, unspecified location constraint is incompatible of region specific endpoint. Request was sent to. Okay, so here what it's saying is, it simply says that you are simply, first of all, I want to give the permissions. Okay, so I can simply go to my account. Okay, first of all, I haven't given the permissions, so I'll just go to my account. And this is just the demo purpose I'm showing you. You can just search more about this. You can just go to your account. Okay, whose account, which is connected to the local computer. So temp2. Okay, here you can just go to add permission. Okay, and add permission, and here you can just attach policy or attach some more things. Okay, here I can just search for S3. So if you search for S3, so you can see AWS S3 full access. If I want to give this, I can simply give this and add permission. So you can see that I have given S3 permission also. Okay, so now if I just try this again, and I think there is one more problem here. Okay, so suppose if I remove the region part, let's check. Unspecified location constraint create bucket, and just a second. Okay, let me just check what's the error. So basically this is a small error which we are getting. So it gives the error, I set the default region AWS. Okay, so try this one. So someone has mentioned what's the error, create bucket, and then the bucket name, whatever is the bucket name, and then create bucket configuration location constraint region outside of is require the inappropriate. Okay, require the appropriate location constraint. So if you are using some other region, so you have to write it this way. Okay, ChatGPT actually shows for only US, that's why we got one problem. Okay, so if I write the AP South 1, okay, and then guys, arey yaar, hat gaya, just a second. Yeah, here I can just write AP South 1. Okay, and then what else you need to do is you can just write the name of your bucket. So I'll just write my bucket GFG 123, something like that. So if I hit this, let's see. So you can see that, guys, now a bucket has been created. Okay, so it's like for outside regions other than US, you can see for US region it would work, but for other regions you have to write it this way. Okay, so someone actually solved this, and you can just search about these things because these are some basic things which are different in some countries. Okay, so yeah, you can see that, yeah, for our country, this you have to write this parameter location constraint equals and then the region, whatever region you want to write. So I've chosen the Mumbai region again. Now you can see that S3 bucket has also been created. If you want to see that, either you can just click that, so you would be taken here. Okay, so this is just the location. Okay, you won't be able to get things, but yeah, I'll just go from here. Here I can just type S3, and we'll learn more about S3 in the upcoming videos, but right now I've just shown you how you can create S3 bucket from your AWS CLI. Okay, so here you can see that just now we created this S3 bucket, and yeah, it's available here. Okay, so you can do things from here, or you can upload something from here. Different kind of things here are available. Okay, you can just search about things like how can I upload file from AWS CLI to S3 bucket. Okay, you can just search more about these things in future, but today we just created a very basic configuration. We searched how we can create EC2 instance, how we can see all the EC2 instances, how we can see how we can create S3 buckets, right? So guys, I hope you understood this video. Perfect explanation, basic introduction. Okay, I will see you in the next one. In the next video we are gonna start with S3 buckets. So till then, say have a good day. Bye bye.